Have it. Okay, so my name is Michelle, and who am I? I am a friend of Megan's. If you're in Megan's challenge group, you don't know me. My name's Michelle, and I am actually the founder of Team Fitnique, so the big team that we are all online. You'll know a few of us here that are coaches. Sarah and Stacy are running our challenge group together this month, and it sounds like Courtney and Megan are running theirs. So no matter who your coach is, we are here to help you tonight, and we want to talk about dining out, and also we'll answer any questions that anybody has. So maybe I'll let Megan go first. She's going to give some of her tips with dining out, and then I'm going to take over and give you some of mine, and then we'll maybe do a little Q&A at the end if anybody has some questions. Sound good?
Yeah. Okay, so I think the most important thing to think about when you're going to, go out to a restaurant with friends, you have to make a decision about what you are going to do, and you have to make that decision before you go there. You can't just decide when you get to the restaurant what you're going to eat. You really have to make that decision early on in the day or earlier in the week. And it has to be a decision that you feel comfortable with. So I think Michelle's going to talk a little bit about, how to really stay on track when you go to a restaurant. I'm going to talk a little bit about just what your decision is going to be. So if you are like right at the beginning of your journey and you have big goals and you are determined to get there, you want to be able to go out to eat with friends and stay on track. You don't want it to sabotage your mindset more than anything, or your hard work that you've been working on all week long. But if you are someone who is kind of more in maintaining mode, or you don't really have a weight loss goal, more so it's just kind of the accountability and just maybe toning up is your goal, maybe you will have sort of a different plan when you go out to eat. So personally for me, when I am going out to a restaurant, that's sort of my chance to have a really good meal that maybe I wouldn't normally have. So I make that decision early on though. I decide, am I really working towards some big goals right now? Like for instance, right now I am working on some goals. So I would decide now that I am going to stick to my plan and I am going to stay on track, which you absolutely can do when you go to a restaurant. There's no reason why you have to throw all your hard work out the window just because you've been invited out to eat with some friends or your husband wants to go out to eat. Or you can decide, you know what, I'm going out to eat on Friday night and that is going to be my night that I am going to have that bowl of pasta, or I'm going to have dessert, or I'm going to have a couple drinks. But whatever it is you decide, you have to feel really, really good about that decision. Because if you plan to stay on track, but then you decide last minute, oh, screw it, I'm going to get the fettuccine Alfredo and the cheesecake and 2 glasses of wine, you are going to feel so guilty. Like the guilt is going to be what sets you back in your journey more than the calories. Because the guilt is going to stay with you all weekend, and you're probably going to wake up the next morning remembering what it was you did, and then you're going to feel awful again, and then you're going to make another bad choice, and then you're going to feel awful, and it's just this vicious circle. That's how it is for me anyways if I don't stick to my plan. But if you decide ahead of time that you are going to indulge and you plan for that, that is perfect. You can plan your whole day around that indulgement. You can save your yellows. You can really load up on
Are you asking for coffee or what?
Vegetables ahead of time and save sort of the blues and the yellows for that yummy meal that you're going to have. So you plan for it and you drink lots of water. You do not starve yourself before you go. Just because you know you're going to indulge, you still make sure you are giving yourself those nutrients that you need in order to enjoy that meal and not let it set you back. And like I said, it's more your mindset than what the calories are going to be.
Shh, no talking. The rules have not changed.
Maybe we should mute. Are you able to mute? Okay, Michelle, you can go ahead now. You have to unmute yourself.
You would think we'd never ever done this before, you guys. We actually do this like almost every night. Okay, that was awesome, Megan. What she said is so true. It's really just about your mindset. Like, you just have to make the decision about what you're going to do. There is no right and there is no wrong, but what you have to do is decide early on what kind of plan you are going to make for your weekend. That is so crucial. And I feel like you really need to make it early in the week. That's why I'm a big believer in meal planning on like Sunday and getting things kind of set out. It doesn't matter if things kind of change up during the week. That's no big deal. But at least you kind of have a plan. You kind of see where the week's going to go, because you can actually take away some things in your week so you can have those treats on the weekend, depending what your goals are. So I have been on a constant weight loss journey for, like, I swear to God, 50 years, and I'm only 42, but it's been my whole life. It honestly has. So I really have had different parts of my journey, and some parts have been more serious than others. And I have made different decisions that maybe some people wouldn't agree with at times. When you're really serious and you want to get to your goals, you got to do it on the weekends. You have to do it 7 days a week. There's just no way around it. If you are just starting out on the 21-day fix and you have 25 pounds to lose, you're probably not going to get to those goals if you have a couple cheat meals on the weekend. You're not. You're going to backtrack. At best, you're going to stay the same. You're going to stay where you are. What you eat matters. You can't out-exercise what you eat. You just cannot. Your nutrition really matters. So if you're really in this, you have to make some decisions. The awesome part about this plan is we kind of teach you how to take some things away. So for example, on a Saturday, if I wanted to have a glass of wine when I was going out for dinner, I probably wouldn't have oatmeal earlier in the day. I would take that yellow away so I could have the yellow at night. So that's why your plan is so important. You can't just leave it for chance. With the 21-day fix program, it's teaching you all of those tricks. And I mean, I use that every single Saturday night. I take one yellow away so I can have a glass of wine at night. However, if I was like if you've got your last 10 pounds to lose and you just want to get that off, you probably shouldn't have the glass of wine. You probably should just decide that you're not, gonna have any of those treats until you get to your goal. Honestly, when you just have that little bit of weight left at the end, even just that one little treat makes a difference. It really, really does. So I was at that point a couple years ago. I was the girl at the restaurant asking how everything was cooked and asking for special dressings and, like all that kind of stuff. And it was okay with me. I was totally fine with it. No restaurant, like every restaurant in the world now is used to people asking for special things. There's so many allergies that people are facing now. It's just very common that people are asking. So everyone says to me that eating at a restaurant is really hard when you're on a diet or you're watching what you're eating. And I think that's hogwash, because really you get to the restaurant, they've got everything there, right? Everything in the world that you could want to eat is there. You just have to have enough balls to ask for what you want. So just because the salad comes with like poppy seed dressing and dried cranberries and sunflower seeds and blue cheese doesn't mean you have to have it on there. You simply say, and this is what I use this all the time, I start the conversation by setting them up saying, I'm probably going to be your pickiest customer tonight. And they laugh at me. And then all I ask for is just, could we just have all those extra things just kept on the side, and I'm just going to add them myself. Would that be okay? And they're like, oh my God, you weren't picky at all. That was no big deal. So it's not, I've never ever had a waiter look at me and like, oh, you are such a pain in the arse. Like, why are you asking for that? Because all you're doing is just, you know, asking for your dressing on the side and all the, like, all that fluffy stuff they add to salads. You might as well go have a Big Mac. Like, honestly, if you look up those salads on the internet, like if you go onto the nutrition plan online when you're looking up what you might have before you dine out, which is another tip, always go to the menu. Figure out what you're going to have before you get there, because it makes it a lot easier, right? You don't even have to think about it, because you've already plugged it in and you know that that's what you're going to have. You're going to stick to your goals and whatever, if you are kind of aware of what's on the menu first. But if you go and check out those nutrition plans or nutrition facts, I guess, online, there was a salad that I was going to get. I thought it had some roasted vegetables on it. It was 829 calories. Like, I might as well have had a couple Big Macs. Aren't they like 500 calories? So you have to be super careful with all that stuff, the dressings and all the oil that some of that stuff is. So you just ask for it on the side. Sure, have a couple pieces of it, but you don't need like the whole carton of blue cheese on your salad, which we all know that's what happens, right? If your salad comes, that's what it is. Easy meal. If you don't want salad, I find that the easiest, like a salad with chicken and whatever. That's my go-to if I go out. Like, that's just a very simple thing. But you can always ask for like a lean piece of meat. If I'm at a finer, like a nicer restaurant, I'll get beef tenderloin, and I will ask them for steamed vegetables. That is not a hardship for a restaurant to do. They always have boiling water. Like, it's not, they're not bothered by it. Any restaurant is fine with doing that. So if you kind of make those choices early and make sure you're just, you know, if you want to get to your goals, it's going to be important enough for you to do. And that's sort of, I've had different phases of my life, and that was one phase, and I really had no problem doing it. I had no problem going out for dinner ever, because I always just asked. And then for me, if I get off track, kind of like what Megan said, if I got off track at supper, then I would get home and I would just be like, oh, well, I screwed up tonight. And then it would just send me on this spiral out of control. And that's not worth it for me. So you kind of have to know your personality. What's it going to do to you? For me, it's not worth it, because it causes more bad decisions. If you can have a treat and stop yourself and be satisfied, then I think that's okay. But you have to kind of know where you fit in. Until you have control over sort of your emotional eating, which that's what it is for a lot of us, right? It's there's so many emotions tied to eating for so many women, and for me, that's what it is. If I start, I can't stop. There's just something in me. Like, I open a bag of licorice, I have the whole bag instead of just having 2 pieces. So I know that about myself, so I just don't let myself do it. If you're the type of person that can have a little square of dark chocolate, then follow the plan. Give up a yellow and have your square of dark chocolate, because that's going to be a treat for you. And that's probably going to help you get through the next week. So you really just have to figure out what's going to work the best for you, and then stick to it and really, you know, make it your goal. I think those are my tips, really.
Another, great thing to do is to save your shake for right before you head out. Like, if you're going out for dinner at 7, I would always have my shake at like 5 or 6 even. Or if we're driving somewhere far, I'll drink it on the way to the restaurant. But having my shake before just prevents me from deciding, well, let's have an appetizer too, because we don't need an appetizer. Like, when we eat at home, do we have an appetizer and then have dinner? No. Like, most of us, we don't. It's not necessary. So, but we think when we go out for dinner, oh, we need to have an appetizer too. The appetizer So we never a good choice. So have your shake before, because it really will help you making some bad decisions. What are you laughing at?
We can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Okay, we can now.
Oh, did you hear anything I said?
Well, we heard the first little bit about appetizers.
Oh, I was going to say, just don't even do the appetizers. Skip the appetizer, but always have your shake beforehand. And what I tell my challengers too, if that means having an extra shake that day, I think that is 100% worth it. Like, I will do that if we're heading somewhere where I know there's going to be lots of treats and lots of things for me to take, and just I don't want to go there, I'll just have an extra shake. And that's worth it, to have an extra red that day, an extra, whatever, 200 calories. I don't even know what a shake is, but that I'm okay with that. If that's going to stop me from making really bad choices, I'll take it. So just, you got to really plan out your day and work that shake in when you need it the most.
Yeah, I agree with that about a shake anytime. Like, and I mean, when I say anytime, I mean, you're legit hungry. Like, this isn't boredom. I talk to my challengers a lot about, like, you need to stop and you need to ask yourself, like, am I just bored here? Did something just happen in my life that's triggering me to go to the cupboard? Or am I legitimately hungry? Like, I really just ate too many of my containers early in the day. I didn't leave enough and I really am hungry. Instead of having anything else, like, vegetables is going to be my first thing to say to have. I say this to my daughter all the time. I'm hungry. I'm hungry. Okay, well, let's cut up some cucumber. I'm not really that hungry. Okay, so you're not hungry. You're not hungry really, right? So we got to do that to ourselves too. Like, if you wouldn't have some celery, you're probably not that hungry. But if you are legit hungry, have another shake with just water and ice, and let that be. Like, that'll fill you up and you won't go and have something else because you've had that. Another thing, I used to be the worst for not eating all day because I was going out that night. I was going to a party that night and I was saving all my calories up to just binge at this party. Or even on a normal Saturday, that's what I would do. I would just not eat all the day, and then I would get home from work at 4 and I would just, like, literally eat and drink wine until I went to bed. So you can't do that. You need to just carry on like normal. If you know you're going to have one treat at night, maybe take away one of your yellow containers. But other than that, just treat the day as normal. And there's something in your mindset that is going to say, I had a normal day of eating. I do not need to, like, gorge myself at the restaurant or go completely overboard at the appetizer table. I love to have some wine. I love it. That's like pretty much my favorite thing of my whole life, actually. But I do know what too many glasses of wine does, right? I think we probably all know what too much alcohol does to us. Our inhibitions go down. You can go into a party or even into your own kitchen and have all the strength in the world, right? Like, you're not touching anything. But actually, after you have like 3 glasses of wine, what happens? Oh, who cares? I'll deal with it tomorrow. I'll start on Monday. Like, who cares? So that's what alcohol does. As much as I love it, that's just kind of a fact. That's what it does to most of us. So just let that be a tip. Like, if you're really trying to get to your goals, alcohol is probably something you want to keep to a bare minimum if you want to get to your goals. Not telling anyone what they have to do, but I know for myself, the minute I add too much of that back into my life is the minute the scale goes up. And that's just kind of the way it is.
Yeah, I would say if you've got goals, just skip the alcohol. Just have some Perrier, drink it in a fancy glass. And that's what I do all the time. Like, if my husband wants to have a drink and I'm like focused on my goals, I'll have some Perrier, I'll put some frozen fruit in it, and I feel like I'm having a drink. It's totally just having something in my hand that's fancy. That to me does it. So yeah, definitely stay away from the alcohol. If you have any type of weight loss goal, or you're really just starting out in this journey, just try and avoid it, especially for the first round, because you don't want to get to the end of this round, the end of 30 days or 21 days, whatever your group is. You don't want to get to the end of it and be like, I didn't even lose any weight. And you think that the program doesn't work, but it does. It's just you didn't follow it. You weren't strict enough with yourself. And we will teach you as we go along how to start to incorporate some treats and what you want to do when you start to maintain and how to make this a lifestyle. We'll go over that as we get towards the end of the group in another call like this. But in the beginning, you want to stick to it. Otherwise, you're going to finish and you wouldn't have gotten any results. And we're all here because we want to have some results, whether it's big or small, we want something. So you're going to get out of this what you put in. So just always keep those thoughts in the back of your mind. Like, what are my goals? What do I want to see happen at the end of 30 days?
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of us always put so much emphasis on the exercise, and you know what? You can lose weight without exercising. It's really what the point we're trying to get across all the time in our posts and when we're messaging you guys is it's the nutrition that makes the difference. And I can be the first to attest that, like, for 10 years, I exercised my brains out, like for an hour and a half a day, but I didn't follow the nutrition plans. And guess what? I didn't lose any weight. I probably had the healthiest heart you could ever have because I was doing turbo fire all over the place, doing so much cardio and all that kind of stuff, but nothing was happening to the shape of my body and I wasn't losing any weight. And it's because I didn't eat properly. I was actually eating pretty clean, but my portions were totally out of control. I was eating too much of some stuff and too little of other stuff. And on Saturday nights, I was binging. That's exactly what I was doing. And I never, ever got results until I got a handle on my nutrition. So that is really what you need to focus on, especially your first round. Like, everyone will message me, can I have a protein bar? Can I have this? Like, no. Just try to stick to those food lists, especially the first 21 days. We'll show you how to incorporate some of that stuff in. Those convenience foods have a place, and we'll show you how to use them eventually. But right now, just stick to clean, whole foods in the proper portions. Use your containers. You'll get results. This program works for everyone. Bottom line, if you work the program. There's just no way around it. It's just like healthy eating. It's not like magic. Like, it's not like a secret in the 21-day fix. It's just normal, healthy eating in proper portions and exercising your body for 30 minutes a day. It's going to work, but you have to work the program. Does anybody have any questions? If you're nervous, you can write them in the chat box, or you can just unmute yourself. Nobody? Okay, well.
Can I talk first?
Yeah.
So I just came back from a week of living in a hotel. I was away on a work trip for a week. And so every single meal that I ate last week was eating out. And I was really, really nervous about that. And it was an off week. It was a week before we started our challenge. So I was kind of like in the back of my mind thinking, it's okay. It's not a big deal. But like, all it took was one really bad night, like kind of like what Megan said, where we ate like a ton of food and, had dessert and everything. And I actually felt so awful the next day that was sort of the reality check for me. And so, I'm not going to lie and say that I didn't indulge a couple other nights that week, but I think that you really, like you said, you have to know yourself and you have to know you know, how you're going to handle something. And so for me, I've kind of got to the point where I don't think it's that slippery of a slope anymore for me, but it used to be so bad. But it's not just how you might feel emotionally and like the guilt that you might feel, but how you physically feel and how that impacts your ability to like do your workouts the next day and, you know, continue to eat healthy. So I think it's so important early on to really like follow it, like you said, because down the road, it becomes kind of this like natural thing for you. And that's why, you know, if you start right, it's easy to maintain.
Totally agree. Yeah, totally agree. I'm the same. Like we were at Disney for 7 days, and I don't get that uptight about stuff like that anymore just because I've been doing this for so long. But there was one day that, you know, I was kind of like, oh, well, I won't have my shake when everyone else is having a burger. I just won't have anything. I'm not really hungry. Like it was all this mind game because there was chips at the hotel. Like there was chips in our condo. And then that's what I ended up doing. I started with chips and then I kept going back to the cupboard. It was just like back to my old ways. And it was because I'd skipped meals all day, opened up wine. Like it just, and then the next day my workout sucked. Like it's like this, it lasts a couple days when you kind of screw up like that, and it's not worth it, especially, oh my God, you guys I know how hard it is to start this program. You haven't exercised for a long time and you're sore, and it's like not, you know, it's hard to get to the end of 21 days and not have results because you kind of didn't follow the nutrition plan, but you busted your ass in the workouts. That just doesn't make sense. Like you need to do the whole combination, and then you're going to just feel so good. You're going to feel so proud of yourself at the end of these 21 days. Like honestly, that feeling of empowerment when you've actually done these 21 days the way they're written and you've got some results, there's nothing like it. There's nothing. I remember the first weekend that I didn't cheat. Like honestly, that I did not cheat on my diet. I felt like a freaking rock star. Like I felt like I had conquered the world because I didn't dive into a bag of licorice. Like it's a pretty awesome feeling when you actually do it. There's nothing like it. So, and that's what we want for you guys. We want you guys to have these great results so you feel good and, you know, you feel confident again. I think that's all I've got. Yeah. Okay. You guys know that you can always reach out to us if you have questions or if you need help with anything. And if no one has any questions, we'll say goodnight. Okay. Bye, guys. Thanks for joining us.